Hey guys, hope you're having a fantastic day today. Today I'm going to be talking about 20 things that I will not be purchasing in 2019. And there are a lot of different items that I think a lot of us will bring into our lives kind of mindlessly without thinking about it, either because we feel like we should, or because everyone else is doing it, or simply because it's an impulse decision. But there are 20 items that I have purposefully decided to abstain from purchasing in 2019 because I want to pursue a more minimal and intentional life. So I'm super excited to get into all of these, but before we do, if we don't know each other yet, hi, my name is Ashlynne, and I make videos twice a week on this channel about minimalism and intentional living. So if that sounds interesting to you, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the 20 items that I will not be buying in 2019. First off is fast fashion trends. And fast fashion is something that comes and goes so quickly, and in trying to live a more sustainable and intentional lifestyle, it simply doesn't align with my goals. On top of that, I'm a huge proponent of buying things that are timeless and that will fit with your personal style, in addition to buying from sustainable brands and shopping secondhand. Now, those values and those goals aren't necessarily compatible with buying fast fashion trends, and honestly, the trends come and go so fast that it's hard to stay on top of them, especially if you're trying to simplify your life. And so for that reason, fast fashion trends are not something that I'll be investing in this year. Number 2 on this list is high heels. And personally, I am not a fan of high heels. I have a difficult time walking in them. They almost always hurt my feet, and I simply don't need any. And so because of that, I'm not going to be purchasing any high heels this year. They're simply not for me, and they're not something that I want to invest my hard-earned money in. Next up, number 3 on this list is belts. And belts are something that I feel like a lot of us are told we're supposed to have, and for many people, they come in very handy. I'm a big fan of wearing high-waisted jeans though, and try to find only jeans that fit my waist. Because I'm not a really big fan of wearing belts, I've got fairly large hips already, and so wearing belts I feel like just doesn't look right particularly. And belts just kind of annoy me when I do wear them. And so because of that, I'm not a fan. They don't look good on me. I'm not going to be buying any because I know my personal needs and desires for my wardrobe, and belts simply don't fit into that picture. Number 4 is scarves. And scarves are something that I do definitely get value from, especially during the fall and winter months. But they really are something that I wear limited quantities of. There was definitely a time in my life where I owned over 20 scarves and probably wore about 3 of them regularly, and I've really just come to discover that there are a few simple styles that I like and that one of each suffices. And so because of that, I have no need for additional scarves. As pretty and as fun as they may look, they just aren't for me. And so that's definitely something I'll be intentionally choosing not to buy this year. Once again, saving me money and also making it so that my wardrobe isn't getting cluttered in the process. Number 5 is dryer sheets, and I think that this is one that a lot of us are told that we should own, but they really aren't all that necessary. So I just stopped buying dryer sheets last year and instead invested in a singular set of wool dryer balls that you throw in, and they essentially act like a dryer sheet. And it was a really easy purchase I was able to make last year that can last me for years to come. I'm all about investing in one thing that can save you from having to buy multiple things in the future. So dryer sheets are something that I no longer have to or want to invest in 2019. Next up, number 6 is air freshener, and this is something that once again a lot of people own for various reasons, but I'm a huge believer in being able to turn on a fan, open up a window, or even light a candle if you're looking to freshen your air in any way. And so because of that, I'm just kind of opting for that. And on top of air freshener, I'll actually add in essential oil diffusers to this list because I know that a lot of people use those to freshen their air. It's just something that I've personally chosen not to invest in. I feel like those options of opening a window, lighting a candle are more up my alley personally. Number 7 is fabric softener, and this is once again one of those purchases that I just don't find necessary. I'm basically the kind of person who throws in the laundry detergent and my dryer balls, and that's the extent of what I want to do when it comes to my laundry. And so fabric softener is just something that I don't need and don't want to invest in. Once again, not buying it definitely saves me money, and it's just something that's not necessary. And if I can have one less thing in my house for essentially the same result, clean laundry, I'm going to do that. Next up, number 8 is definitely something that I've invested in heavily in the past, but it's not something I'm going to be investing in 2019, and it's something that I've definitely moved away from in the past few years, and that's makeup remover wipes. I definitely used to be that person who every single night would use makeup remover to get rid of any makeup on my face, but what I've really come to discover is that a washcloth and water does the trick pretty well, and if you add in a little bit of coconut oil to get rid of your eye makeup, that's really all you need for being able to wash your face. Makeup remover wipes aren't really necessary, they're kind of wasteful, and dude, they're expensive for what you're actually paying for. And then along those lines, number 9, cleansers and exfoliators are things that a lot of people incorporate into their daily skincare routine, but they're things that I personally don't find necessary. I used to use cleansers and exfoliators on a pretty regular basis, and what I found was that instead of actually clearing up my skin, they actually served to break me out. Cleansers and exfoliators, both of them did, to certain degrees. I also found that they kind of made my skin a little bit more rough, which obviously is counterproductive to their goal. And so that because of that, and then honestly later in life, just because I found that they weren't really necessary for my skincare routine, I've just decided not to purchase them anymore. I'm still a big believer in having a good skincare routine. For me, they're just not necessary elements. I find that a washcloth to wash my face is about as much exfoliant as I need. So cleansers and exfoliators, not going to be purchasing in 2019. Okay, number 10 is perfume. And I will say I do own a singular perfume. Christopher and I, about every 2 years, will go out and buy a cologne and a perfume for each other, and then they last 2 years, and we go through one bottle in the course of that time. And so for me personally, I see no need to own more than one perfume. I have one that I like, I'm happy to wear it, and I don't need to buy it this year. Maybe next year I'll need to repurchase it, but it's just not something that I need to be continually buying more of. So in 2019, I won't be investing in it. Maybe in 2020 I'll invest in a single bottle, but it's definitely not a regular purchase that I'm going to be making, and not something that I feel like I need to have more than one of. Number 11 is Selftanner, and with it being the summertime, I feel like this is something that a lot of my friends are going out and purchasing and incorporating into their, I guess it's skincare routine, essentially just pampering routine, I will call it. But it's definitely not something that I find necessary at all. It's definitely kind of a vanity product, which I can kind of understand the desire to use it, but personally, if I really want a tan, I'd rather just go sit out in the sun and get it. But I'm also a really pale person and can embrace that fact. So I'm perfectly happy as well just being white during the summer, and you know, if I need to put on sunscreen, I can do that. Moving on, number 12 is mouthwash. And mouthwash is one of those things that I think sounds good in theory, but in reality, I have never used it on a consistent basis. I personally hate the flavor of most mouthwashes, and I just don't know how necessary it is if you're flossing your teeth and brushing fairly regularly. If I really want good smelling breath, I can chew some gum or, you know, just eat something that smells good, I guess. But I'm not ultra concerned about how my breath smells, and I feel like in terms of oral hygiene, brushing my teeth does the job. So it's just not something I'm going to be buying this year. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it adds value to my life, and honestly, it's just, once again, one more thing that I'd have lying around my house that really I don't need. Okay, number 13 is dry shampoo, and it's something that I've used a fairly significant amount in the past, but honestly discovered that dry shampoo doesn't really work all that well for me. Once my hair starts feeling gross, there's nothing I can really do to prevent that. So personally, I would prefer to wash my hair rather than just kind of letting it sit around in this greasy, dry shampoo stuff all day. On top of that, it comes in an aerosol spray, which although those can be recycled in Charlotte, really aren't the greatest for the environment. So if not buying dry shampoo is one little thing I can do to, you know, contribute to the planet, I can do that while saving money, while also not bringing a product into my life which has questionable benefits for my own personal hair and how I feel about my hair as well. Now, along those lines, shower gel and shaving cream are two other products which I think are staples in a lot of people's shower routines that simply don't add a ton of value to myself. I'm definitely the soap, shampoo, conditioner kind of person. Occasionally I'll do like a deep conditioner, but definitely shower gels, shaving creams, they're just not things that I use. Soap and water works perfectly fine for my shaving routine, and I'm perfectly happy with sticking to that. Once again, they're just products that add a little bit of clutter, don't really add a lot of value to my life, and because of that, I don't really need them. Okay, number 15 is DVDs and CDs, and I guess I'm definitely a millennial in the sense that I've gone completely digital with this stuff. Christopher and I owned a grand total of 3 DVDs, which are the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition, and that's it. And I'm perfectly happy with it being that way. In fact, I prefer it that way because honestly, if there's any DVD we want, we can rent it either from Redbox with a Netflix DVD subscription or online. I'm perfectly happy with pursuing any of those options, and the same thing goes for CDs. I can listen to any piece of music I want to on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts if I want to consume content in that way, or even through audiobooks like Audible. And so for me, it just doesn't really make sense to physically own the DVD or CD. I don't really see the need for them, and I'd rather consume content in other ways. Number 16 is seasonal decor, and honestly, other than Christmas, I'm not really the type of person who wants to decorate for the different seasons. And even when it comes to Christmas, Christopher and I keep things pretty minimal. We have our Christmas tree and of course our little stockings, and then I might have some, you know, greenery around the house, but none of that really involves additional purchases at this point since we own pretty much all of that stuff already. And of course, other than that, I don't really like purchasing things to decorate for the season. I just find it unnecessary, and when it's not that season that you're currently decorating for, all the stuff that you have just kind of ends up getting stored away, you know, taking up space in your closets, in your attic, wherever. And it just ends up not really being used for the vast majority of the year. So it's just not something that I personally see as being necessary or even super helpful. Number 17 is batteries, and last year Christopher and I chose to invest in rechargeable batteries for the AA batteries and one 9-volt battery that we have, just figuring that that would be a little bit more of a sustainable option. It's something we can reuse for years to come, and honestly, we don't use batteries all that frequently, and so we preferred that as an option to continually having to buy batteries for like the random electronics that still require them. Now, it's just a simple little decision that we've made, but it's something that's really easy to do, and I think will probably save us money in the long run. I just feel like choosing the reusable batteries last year was a great option. It's gonna keep us from being able to have to invest in new ones this year, and I'm looking forward to that. Okay, number 18 is bottled water, and this is something that I've pretty intentionally been trying to keep to. I really am a proponent of reusing a water bottle that you already have. I have a stainless steel cup and clean canteen, both of which I love using and use all the time, especially when I'm traveling, but at home I use them all the time as well. And for me, plastic water bottles is something that I don't find necessary, and it's something that I want to avoid if at all possible. And so this year I'm really trying to commit to not buying any water bottles. Even when I'm traveling and it might be more convenient, I would prefer just to be able to refill one that I already have and cut back on basically just a waste in general in that way. Okay, number 19 is tampons and pads. A couple of years I invested in a silicone menstrual cup, which really does the trick for when it comes to that time of the month for us ladies out there. It really does help to save so much waste and a lot of money in the long run. Menstrual cups often cost around $30, which honestly you can make up in less than a year of having your period. It's simple, it's minimal, it's a more sustainable option. It means that I'm not going to be putting unsafe products into you know what. And honestly, if you haven't researched this before, tampons and pads can definitely be harmful in that area. And so there are just so many benefits for me of having had invested a couple of years ago in a menstrual cup once, and making it so I don't have to buy feminine products into this year and the next year and the next year and the next year until about 10 years down the line when I get to replace my menstrual cup. And finally, number 20 is art supplies. And this is something that I actually really wanted to challenge myself to do. I have built up a lot of art supplies, or at least Christopher and I have built up a lot of art supplies over the years because we both are really creative people and we enjoy expressing ourselves that way through artistic endeavors. But we've also, like I said, built up quite a few products, not things that we don't use, they're all things that we enjoy using, but I want to challenge myself to actually use those rather than going out and buying any new products and kind of investing money and I guess like space in my house in something, you know, additional. And so I'm going to be challenging myself to use up some of those to get creative and to just have fun with the art supplies I already have rather than buying new stuff. Well guys, there you have it. Those are 20 things that I will not be buying in the year of 2019. And these are all purchases that either because I don't think I get value from them, I don't want to spend my money on them, or I've already found a really good alternative that I just don't want to be spending my money on in 2019. I hope this list has encouraged you to be more intentional about the purchases that you make, because remember, everything that we buy does end up in our homes, and if we're trying to live a simple and more clutter-free life, we want to be thinking through those purchases that we're making and not just making them on autopilot. I'd love to hear though what you guys are committing not to buy in 2019, so comment that down below. I would love to hear all about it. Also, if you guys did make it to the end of this video and have not subscribed already, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more content like this coming at you on a weekly basis. That's everything I have for you guys today though. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.